Hi everyone, I'm Helen Thompson from the British Franchise Association and I'm here today speaking with Sam Acton from Domestic Angels. Hi Sam, how are you today?
Hello, Helen. I'm very well. And yourself?
Yes, really good, thank you. It's lovely to speak with you today. And Sam, we're going to talk specifically about your journey into franchising as a result of redundancy. And you're actually a franchisor, so this is a slightly different spin on, the videos that I've done previously. So tell us a bit about, what led to you becoming a franchisor after redundancy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Helen. It did come from redundancy, and it is a different spin. So there was quite several years passed between redundancy and becoming a franchisor. So the short version is that the second time of being made redundant, I came home. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no plan, and I was chatting to a girlfriend a couple of weeks later, who said, "Look, as you've got some time on your hands, can you help me out? Because I've got a big house here. I'm very busy in business. I've got 3 kids. I need a cleaner. Can you find me a cleaner?" And, by the end of the first bottle of wine, because I was a girlfriend, it's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. I'll find you a cleaner. By the end of the second bottle of wine, we came up with the name Domestic Angels. And then I literally just cracked on and got on with it. There was no plan. There was no like strategic objective or value position. I was just creating an income, which is what so many people do. And it was from a blank sheet of paper. So I took myself to HMRC and did a training course on how to do the wage roll. And that was done with paper, pencil, and rubber. So I knew intimately how it worked. And actually, one of my top tips for anybody from that is when you do that, once you hand a particular task out, do you outsource it? You can spot a mistake from a mile off. So it does make life a lot easier. So it's really worth understanding these things.
Yeah.
And I just kept learning over the years. I'd listen to every single sentence on the telephone and go and think about it, listen to every intonation and inflection of every single word to learn what people are trying to say to me, learn about the customer service, learn about my business, its culture, what was going to be. And the biggest thing was learning to be an employer. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's complicated. Not just on the legal front, but people do some bizarre things. So yeah, there's a huge learning curve. And then 2013, Domestic Angels was made the National Home-Based Business of the Year.
Fantastic.
Now, yeah, absolutely fantastic. But that turned my head because it's like, really? That's very grown up. And it was on that day that I actually accepted I had a business. I was a businesswoman. I never thought about myself in that context before. It's something everybody else did that was kind of grown up.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was like, oh, well, I can do this. I know my stuff. Right, okay, so where do we go from here? Well, the award gave us this PR, which brought growth quite quickly. And so I had a business that was growing, say, this shape with me, my team leaders and the angels. And I managed to secure a business mentor who came in and analysed all of the things that I don't look at, which lots of numbers and equations and fancy stuff that you probably find on MBA courses. And he said, right, this is fine, but you need to reconsider where you're going, because you can carry on like this, but you're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're losing contact down here. Or you could multiply by franchising.
Great.
My reaction was, that's the F word. What have you said it in front of people? Because many years before, it was 2005 actually, I'd gone to an exhibition, and I thought I'd met what I considered a whole bunch of sharks in a big ocean who wanted to sell me an empty shoebox for a lot of money. And I couldn't see the value in what was coming to me or anything. So we argued the toss actually for a few months. And basically he persuaded me that I was able to franchise my business, Domestic Angels, in our own style, with our moral framework, our ethos, preserve our culture. We did not need to throw any of those things out. We could keep all of our values, all of the things that we've learned to do so well. We did not have to be one of those sharks. We did not need to sell empty shoe boxes. We could give everything. Now, unbeknown to me at the time, there was quite a few people around the country who were coming to the same conclusion and franchising their businesses. So we're part of a disruptor wave that was coming through at the time, which was great fun. So this is about 2015 that this started to sort of come into effect. I managed to become the live client for the Bournemouth University MBA cohort for the year. And they basically dug into domestic angels and turned every single stone and looked at it and said, okay, this is what we recommend. And they came back again with an awful lot of words and equations that I don't know. All 15 of the reports still. Luckily, they used a traffic light system, so I could simplistically see what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And there were considerably more green lights than amber or red lights in there. When this was about their recommendation about going into franchising, about not just franchising domestic angels, but what the franchise landscape was going to look like in the medium future. And we're getting near to that medium future now, which was that they predicted that it would increase and become more popular because it is a much better bet financially in terms of investment versus starting your own business, which is what I did. So I can actually talk about both. So we went through the process for the year after the MBA recommendations and converted our business to be used as a franchise package. And that included writing, creating and building our own software, which was fantastic fun. But I'm really up for doing all of that kind of thing. And I think if you're entering into business, you have to ask yourself, am I up to doing all of that kind of thing? Or do I want it kind of prepackaged and looked after for myself? I quite like inventing things, so that worked for me. And then we opened for business. We brought our first franchisee on board. So that was 2017. So our #1 franchisee will actually hit her fourth franchise anniversary in about a month's time. So
that's fantastic.
So that is, briefly speaking, you know, how I got to become a franchisor. Yeah, it's great because it puts me in a fantastic position where we've got a number of franchisees who have now got their own successful businesses. They were trading with us at the beginning of 2020 and they're still trading with us at the beginning of 2021. Now, if you ever wanted proof that your franchise is working, did you want to test the pilot model? No, we've got it now. It works.
It's been a really, really trying time. You're absolutely right. But we know that traditionally when times are hard, if we look back to 2008 when there was a recession, and and unfortunately the pandemic is something that we haven't experienced before, but normally and traditionally, franchising does continue to do well, which is nice to see. I mean, it has been a hell of a year, and I'm sure that you felt that as well. And there'll always be, I suppose, with owning your own business and particularly converting that to a franchise, all the challenges and things that come along with it. If you could give sort of key elements of advice, because you did say a lot there about the business coach, and you were very lucky with Bournemouth University and the MBA and all of that, but what would be your key advice to somebody who might be watching this video, who's in a very similar position, facing redundancy, and is maybe thinking, I could start my own business? What would you say to them?
If it's crossing your mind, if you're thinking it, then you need to start your own business. The question is how you start your own business. So the reason I say that is very simplistic. What you don't want to do is look back in 10 years or 20 years time and say, I could have done that. So it's crossing your mind, I think I'd like to start my own business. You're going to start your own business. So now pick your pathway. There's two clear pathways I know of. One is the blank sheet of paper, which is essentially what I did when I started Domestic Angels. And the second one is to pick up a franchise framework. Okay, so you need to decide what your risk factors are and how you feel about things and how fast you want to turn a profit. If you start with a blank sheet of paper, I can guarantee you it will be a much longer time before you turn a profit. Just because you're inventing everything from scratch. Okay, you can buy off-the-shelf software and bits, but you've got to build your reputation, you've got to build your brand, you've got to build your processes. And not only build them, you've got to think about what they actually are. You don't actually know how you want to take money from people. You want to take money, but how are you going to take money from people? And that's got lots of complications in it. And you know what? I really enjoyed that, but I found that whilst I was absolutely useless at school at creativity. In business, I'm incredibly creative. I have the ability to vision and create those things. Now, if you don't feel that you're creative in that way, or you need more security to know that you're going to get that profit sooner, that your business will not fail, because that one with the blank sheet of paper is very, very likely to fail. There's a very good reason the statistics say that the majority of new businesses fail within the first year, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. In franchising, the percentage rate is completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
The majority succeed because the formula is already established, tried and tested. So then if you say, well, okay, I want my own business, I'm just going to buy into the franchise. And you do have to buy into it. You invest into it, actually. That's the better way of saying it. Because you'd invest into I've got my hands going all over the place. You'd invest into a blank sheet of paper, but you actually don't know how much this is. And you're not going to know until you get to 5 years' time and look back. Whereas when you invest in a franchise, it is £5,000, £10,000, £50,000, or £100,000. You know what your investment is, and you know, broadly speaking, what you're going to get back in return for that money, and where you're going. And the forecasting should tell you which point you're going to break even, at which point you're going to start making a profit, so that you can cover the cost. So if you haven't got that upfront investment and you're borrowing, you'd work that into your forecasting so you can see that it's getting paid off and that you're all managed. You've kind of got it's about having peace of mind, and I'm a great promoter of peace of mind. So it's important to choose the option that suits you. But if it's crossed your mind, should I go into business? You need to go into business and scratch that itch.
Perfect. Listen, Sam, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. I think you've given us loads to think about, and certainly there'll be lots to think about for people who might watch this video and think, you know, I have got that itch and I definitely need to scratch it. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh no, it's an absolute pleasure. I'd encourage anybody to go into business. You know, we're a nation of shopkeepers in this country for a good reason. We have entrepreneurial spirit built into our DNA. So take a look at it and make your choice. And I'm really happy to chat to anybody who's thinking of doing it, and don't let redundancy be a barrier. It's an opportunity.
Fantastic, Sam. Perfect way to end it. Thanks very much, and we'll catch up soon. Take care.
Thank you.